Hello everybody. So I'm in a different location, as you've probably gathered. I'm actually in Cornwall, and I'm going to start this vlog with another apology. I'm sorry for the lack of vlogs over the last 2 weeks, I think it's been, and I haven't been able to vlog over the last week because I've had a fractured tooth. So I crunched on a popcorn kernel. It must have been weeks ago. I went to the doctors a couple of weeks ago, and he thought it was sinusitis because I was getting a lot of pain around my eyes, in the side of my head, as well as in my jaw, and obviously in my teeth as well. So I was thinking it was referred pain. The doctor thought it was referred pain from sinusitis, obviously causing problems everywhere. Turns out it wasn't that at all. It turns out it was a fractured tooth. I went for an x-ray at the dentist last Monday. There was evidence obviously that the tooth was fractured. So I was on antibiotics already for the sinusitis, and it came to Wednesday and I was just in agony. I've been in so much pain over the last 10 days. I've actually forgotten what day is what because it's been just a bit of a head mess over the last couple of weeks. But anyway, got to Wednesday and the pain was still there, so they suggested taking it out, and I had emergency treatment, not at my local dentist but somewhere else just up the road by Rotherhithe Tunnel. So I went there on, was it Thursday? I think it was Thursday, because I was meant to have a review on Friday to see how the pain had calmed down, and it was a last resort to take the tooth out. I did need to have the tooth out because obviously I was still getting the pain. So they took it out on Thursday. So I'm, what is it, Friday, Saturday, 3 days in. And I can just about eat stuff. So obviously for the first 24 hours you're not allowed to eat anything hot, but I've only started eating normal food. It feels weird because I've already had my wisdom out on that side. It was my molar that was fractured. But anyway, I'm in Cornwall because tomorrow is marking the, hang on, just got to check, yeah, the 13th of March is marking the first anniversary of my mum passing last year. My mum, we lost her on the 13th of March 2022. So I grew up in Cornwall. I spent quite a few years here, from 1982, September 1982 to the early 90s. I went to sixth form college, and then I went to Falmouth Art College. So I left home, went to Falmouth, and after Falmouth I couldn't get a job down here. So I mean, deep down I've always wanted to get to London anyway, because I was born in Kent, spent quite a lot of time toing and froing. I think I started off living in Orpington, staying at my auntie and uncle's, and then I moved to Croydon, and then I moved to Bromley, and I lived in Beckenham. But now I'm back in Cornwall for my mum's due tomorrow. So we've got lots of family, we've got cousins, aunties, uncles, and obviously we have my brothers and my sister. And I got down to Cornwall tonight, got a automatic car, which I didn't realise was automatic. I spent the last 25-30 years driving manual, and I've never driven an automatic car. So I panicked this morning and cancelled the car, realising that it was a automatic car, and the guy from Hire Car messaged me, the owner of the car, and said, if you're not happy with it, I can give you a refund. So I decided to, I was going to say grab the bull by the horns, but that's not a very vegan thing to say. I decided to go for it, and it turned out okay. Actually, obviously a lot easier driving in automatic, but it's just so weird because I'm so used to putting my foot down on the clutch, and I kept doing that, and I was going to say I stalled the car a couple of times. I didn't stall it because you can't really stall an automatic car. But anyway, I'm here. So I've just got back from the Pitamy pub, which is somewhere I used to work, somewhere I used to be a barman for, and also work in the restaurant. So the Pitamy is in Rock, which, if you're not familiar with Cornwall, it's on the north coast, just across the estuary from Padstow, and it's just a beautiful part of the world. It really is so gorgeous here. I remember when I was living here, I couldn't wait to get away because I just wanted lights, bright lights. It's quiet down here, and obviously during the winter months it's quite isolating, so I couldn't wait to get to London. But now I'm back, it feels nice, even though it's going to be a very sad day tomorrow. It feels nice to meet up with the friends that are coming, meet up with family, obviously that I haven't seen for a long time, and yeah, just give my mum the send-off that she deserves. So that's happening tomorrow. I'm here for a few days, so I'm here for 3 days. I'm hoping to go to some of my old haunts. I'm actually wanting to go to Falmouth, where I went to art college, and perhaps Polzeath, which is a surfing beach really near where I used to live in Rock. So I'm going to sign off now. It's about 11 o'clock here. I've just had dinner at the Epitome. Yeah, I'm probably going to turn in, have an early night. So I'm looking forward to getting in this bed at Premier Inn in Weybridge, and yeah, getting some shut-eye. So the actual intention was to get last night's vlog up to go out on the Sunday a week ago. It didn't happen because I had the information on the SD card, and I didn't have my SD reader to plug into my laptop because the new Macs don't have the SD slot. Very annoying, but anyway, I've put it at the beginning of this vlog just to give you a bit of insight into what's going on the vlog this week. It's just gone 11. I was going to say wake, but it's more a celebration of Mum's life. It's happening at midday today. It's 12 till 4. We've got a lot of family coming down. I'm quite anxious, actually. Very much looking forward to seeing everybody, but I always get a bit apprehensive and a bit nervous about seeing people that I haven't seen for a long time. And there are quite a few people that I haven't seen for years. 20 years, 30 years. So, yeah, a lot of catching up to be done. But I'm very much looking forward to seeing everybody. And I think it's going to be a nice get-together. We were talking about how time flies at the Epitome last night. Sat at the table having a drink with my cousins Michelle and Scott, Scott's other half husband, Scott's husband Trevor, and Sharon and Charles, Sharon my sister and Charles my brother, and also Tony and Lynn and the dog Daisy. Sat there talking about how time just whizzes by without you even knowing, and we should really make more of an effort to be in touch with each other, because we don't really speak to each other that much. Not in a bad way, it's just life gets in the way. You know how busy life can be. But yeah, the occasional message from each other, but I think we're going to make more of an effort. I mean, something like this really does make you appreciate things more, I think, and want to make more of an effort to be in touch with people that you love. So yes, so I think it's going to be a nice send-off from Mum today. So it's 10 o'clock, Tuesday morning. Not a great angle, sorry. The service yesterday, the get-together for Mum was it's just beyond words, really. It was so beautiful and so moving to have so many great people there, people that have taken the time out to pay their respects to Mum and give her the send-off that she deserved. We had the get-together at the Epitome. Spent some really happy years there, actually. It was 1990, I think I worked there. I used to live down the road, but more of that to come in just a few minutes. But my mum and dad knew the place really well. My dad especially, because he was a refrigeration engineer. All the family were there, my cousins, my auntie, uncle, and also a lot of people that couldn't make it that sent some really lovely messages. But anyway, I'm now off to Rock. I'm going to show you parts of where I grew up, show you the beach, show you the house I used to live in just down the road, and then I'm hoping to go to Polzeath, this big surfing beach on the north coast, not far from Rock, and also Port Isaac if I get the chance, because that's so picturesque. I even thought about going to Falmouth to see where I used to go to college there, at art college. But let's see what happens, because it's now 10 o'clock. I might run out of time or energy, but I'm gonna head to Rock now anyway. I forgot to mention Chris and Mark also came, really good friends of mine, and they're staying in the same hotel that I'm staying at. It's definitely a small world, but yeah, it's great to see Mark and Chris. So thank you guys if you're watching this. We really appreciate you coming. So I'm not in Rock yet. I'm still in Weybridge, but I couldn't resist coming to have a little peek at my school, which is Weybridge School, where I spent time from 1982 to 1988, so I was age 12 when I came here. left in 87 when I was 17. So weird being back here after so long. So this is the back of the school where we used to do cross-country running, games of football, games of rugby. I mean, I was always hating PE at school. Unsurprisingly, I was always the last person to be picked in any teams. But anyway, this is the back of the school. I don't really want to take too much footage of the school here because it's a bit creepy, isn't it? Let's face it. I don't really want to be filming kids, but yeah, some great memories. So this is obviously where the swimming pool used to be, and I remember we used to have to swim in the winter in an outside pool. I mean, what kind of sadist would make you do that when you're a child? But I remember it, probably for the wrong reasons. So I'm now outside Trerere, which is the house, my home, where I spent the years from 1983, I think, until 1992. A couple of those years I went to Falmouth Art College. Again, it feels quite weird taking video footage in someone's new home, current home, but obviously I spent a lot of years there, so yeah, it's nice being back here. So this is the main road that goes up to the Epitome, which is just a 2 or 3 minute walk up the road. So when I used to work there, I used to come home from art college in the holidays, and I used to do bar work and restaurant work as a waiter. Yeah, it was just a 3 minute walk up there, so very handy, very convenient. And that is the road that heads down to Rock Beach, which is where we're going now. Much older than when I lived here, that I can totally take in this view and the location and just realise how lucky I was to have lived here. This is Rock Beach, so let me show you this. So beautiful. It's actually breathtaking, and the funny thing is, when you've lived in London for so long, I don't know if you can hear me, by the way, because it's really windy, but when you've lived in London for so long and you come back to Cornwall and you realise how clean the air is and how fresh that wind, the breeze is, it's so completely different. I mean, it is like being on holiday. I mean, it hasn't been a holiday as such, obviously, the last few days, but it's so nice to take a break. Big Stein. So I was right, it was the Padstow ferry. It's just left to go back to Padstow now. That was so good to get down on Rock Beach again. What I did notice was that nothing has changed apart from the inside of the Epitome, obviously where we had Mum's do yesterday, which has totally changed. Everything in Rock was the same as what I remember it 35, whatever it is, years ago. Scary to think how long ago that was. But anyway, I'm now at Polzeath, which is another favourite spot of mine when I was growing up. And it is on the north coast of Cornwall. It's further round from Rock, and it's a big tourist attraction, popular for people that love going surfing. So I'm going to show you Polzeath now. So this is somewhere I used to come quite a lot when I was growing up. I had a really good friend at school. He was my best mate, David, who used to live just up on the hill here at Polzeath in a place called Pinewood Flats. But he used to live there. His mum and dad were really, really liberal, and they used to host some amazing parties. I remember one party we went to, which was a Halloween party, which I think was 1982 or 1983, probably 1983, but I remember we watched Poltergeist, and I think it was the first time that I saw it, and they had loads of decorations up there, cobwebs everywhere. It was really spooky, lots of pumpkins, Halloween lanterns, lots of candles. It was really kind of rustic and authentic and proper spooky. And I remember seeing Poltergeist and being terrified by it, even though I was a big horror fan. I grew up with horror, but it's just something that really sticks in my mind as a 13-year-old. But David was a really good friend. I remember being really envious because he had a Commodore 64 and I had a Spectrum 48 a bit later on in the mid-80s, and I remember just wanting a Commodore 64 but not being able to afford one because obviously Spectrums are a bit cheaper, I think. But yeah, he was a really good friend, and I've recently got back in touch with him after a long time of not being in contact. But anyway, this is Polzeath. It's amazing being back here. I love this place. We used to go surfing. Yeah, not professional surfing by any means. Don't think that I was standing up. It was just belly boarding with a polystyrene board. But when we used to come here on holiday before we moved to Cornwall in 82, it was September 1982, we used to come here every year on holiday, as on holiday. This was the place that we used to come to. And I've got really fond memories of my mum and dad and my brother and sister all loving being here in Polzeath. But anyway, get a look at this view. of an emotional moment. It's been a long time since I've been here. I've got some really special memories here, and now that Mum's gone a year ago, Dad passed almost 20 years ago now. It's amazing what you remember, isn't it? That you've not necessarily forgotten after a while, but I think somewhere in your head you just dislodge memories, and then when you revisit the places that are special to you, it all comes flooding back. But this is pretty special being back here. As I was saying, this is where we used to sunbathe. We used to pitch up, make sandcastles, get sunburnt, and also when I was older, I used to lie here with my mates with a cassette stereo right by Surfside. So I've just been tipped over the edge again. A friend of mine, a really good friend of mine, Naomi, and also I should mention Rich, who I saw yesterday, which was brilliant to see him after 20 years. Naomi's just posted on my Facebook page, commenting on the picture that I posted, saying that I was here in Polseth, and she said, happy memories, great times there, I wish I was with you. And as soon as I read that, I just, broke down again. But it's all good, it's a good release. I feel like I've had total closure now after a year of not being able to say goodbye to Mum because she was living in Spain. And then some dogs just come over to me. Hello. And that certainly cheered me up. I think dogs know, you see. Dogs have this sixth sense of knowing when you're upset. How bizarre. Ted does that all the time. When I had my tooth out last week, he sat by my side all day. I should mention Leanne as well, a really good friend who I haven't seen for years, more than Naomi and Rich. I mean, like I say, I hadn't seen Rich for 20 years until yesterday. I've seen Naomi because Naomi came to see me in London a few years ago. But also families as well, because obviously my friends have now got kids. Some of my friends have got kids. Rich has a boy called Joel. I haven't met him. He's 14. And Naomi has Jake. Naomi and Duncan have Jake. I think he's around about the same age, possibly younger, maybe 12. But I haven't met Jake either, so time is so short, and I'm sorry if this vlog is deep and meaningful and a bit... It's not meant to be doomy and gloomy by any means, but it does make you realise when you lose someone that you just have to make the most of everything in life. So I'm having thoughts about where I'm going to go next. I'm probably unlikely to go to Falmouth because it's so far down, and I just think it's going to take a fair bit of time driving, parking, and also it'll give me something to look forward to for the next time I come to Cornwall, and it'll give me another reason to come back to Cornwall, because I'm not down here enough. Because every time I come down, I really love being here, and there's something really therapeutic about it as well, because it's so refreshing. I mean, especially if you come to the coast, it's fantastic, it really is. So I'm walking up the steps now. I'm going to give you another view of this amazing coastline. I just made it up the hill. The way I went down, when I went down to the beach earlier, I went down on the rock face, but I actually came up back to the car park the other way, and it was up the steep hill on the main road. And now I'm out of breath. I've just had the most amazing vegan toasty from one of the cafes on the beachfront, and it was made with like crusty bread toasted. I think it was like a crusty white bread toasted with vegan cheese and sweet chili jam chutney. It was to die for. I've also had a smoothie just to kind of compensate for all the carbs and the fat that I've just eaten, with some beetroot, apple juice, ginger and pineapple, and that went down a treat. So I'm raring to go now. I'm going to drive back to the hotel, just have a little kind of freshen up, and then I might go to Port Isaac. So I'm back in the car, just had a little freshen up, had a little something to eat, some nibbles, and the sun is still shining. So it's just coming up to 3 o'clock, so I thought I'd better get out quickly, because otherwise the sun's going to go down and it's going to start getting dark. So off to Port Isaac. So here we are at Port Isaac. Well, not quite Port Isaac, it's more St Endellion, but it's the St Endellion parish. But I'm right at the top of Port Isaac, so I'm going to walk down. I've just parked the car. It took me 20 minutes to try and make a payment. It wasn't taking any payment with my card. But look at this view. And do you know what I love? I can hear the seagulls. There is just no one around, it's so peaceful. There's a guy painting the playground back there, in the sunshine. So of course it's quiet now, but come May, give it a few more weeks and this place will be teeming. I just got waved at by the girls in this van. Say hello. So we're coming down to the old school hotel. So if you're driving down this road in a big truck, bus, jeep, forget it. The road is thin and steep. So as I was saying earlier, this is where they film Doc Martin with Clunes. What's his name? Mr. Clunes. Why am I thinking Michael Clunes? It's not Michael Clunes, but you know who I mean. And loads of films. They film loads of films here, including Saving Grace. with Brenda Blethen. So I just saw a DPD van going down there. Fingers crossed. You know, I'm just being dramatic. It's not that thin, this road. But it's pretty daunting if you're maybe new driver. So tempted to pop into the Golden Lion for a pint. I could have what I had at the Epitome, which was alcohol-free beer, but I can't remember the brand. But it was quite nice. It's very tempting. I mean, it's actually really nice being on my own, because I'm just being reflective. Nice to see they have some vegan stuff on the menu. Applause, applause. So a short visit to Port Isaac, and now I've got to make my way up this steep hill. So Dalabol was somewhere I used to go to with a friend of mine, Jules, who was the dead ringer for Susie Sue. She looked exactly like her, same hair, same makeup, really tall. She wore the most amazing boots, thigh boots, and jewellery, just stunning looking. I'm still in touch with her on Facebook. Hello Jules, we'll go out for a beer. Actually, it used to be Snakebite and Black back in the day, and I went out with her to Nuki once. Her mum was driving. I was going to film the area where this spooky incident happened. On the way back to Weybridge, I'll try and stop on this bridge. It's called Trewarnan Bridge. It's pretty much in the middle of nowhere, but not far from Weybridge, surrounded by hills and fields and wildlife. But anyway, rumour has it, at 12 midnight on certain days, a headless coachman appears on the bridge. Cornish folklore, if you like. But anyway, one night we were coming back from Nuki. We've been to a few pubs in Nuki, and Jules' mum was driving. No, actually Jules was driving. We were going over the bridge, heading back to Rock, because they were dropping me off at Rock. I think Jules lived in Dalabol at the time, so they were dropping me off. Anyway, we went over the bridge, and this massive clump of fog, mist, came towards us as we were going over the bridge, and it felt like it went through the car. It felt really cold, and it was a real shock But Jules's mum, weirdly, who was asleep when it happened, woke up. Jules swerved. We stopped and lay by just past the bridge. Looked down at the clock. Guess what? It was 12 o'clock, midnight. Yeah, make of that what you will. So I always tell people that I've seen a ghost, because that's what I believe it might have been. So excuse all the panting. I'm over the worst of it now. I'm almost on flat land. A couple more hills to go before I get back to the car park. So I just popped into a tourist shop, like a gift shop in Port Isaac. Got Jeremy a couple of presents. Had a really nice chat with the young couple that were in there. I was just explaining that I was down from London and it's so nice to be back in Cornwall. Kind of makes me want to move back. And they were saying it's nice to get to London for a couple of days and come back. So I guess it's vice versa for me. I'm coming down for a couple of days and going back to London. But yeah, it's a completely different way of life. I've had a text from John at the RVT, Royal Vauxhall Tavern, asking about booking. So I'm looking forward to getting back into the swing of things and getting some more work. So one last thing to mention before I drive back to London is this place, which is Treglin Farm. So when my family first moved to Cornwall, it was 1982, September 1982. The first place we lived in was a place called Little Treglin, which was a cottage just past Treglin Farm, which is there. It's like one of the tracks off the main road as you're coming from Rock or Port Isaac, where I've just been. And we lived there for a few years. I joined Weybridge School, and I think we moved to the place in Rock, Truro, in 1986, 1987, I think, if my memory serves me right. But anyway, I'm going to have a little nosy, because I'm sure it's changed. It says there's Treglin Farm holiday cottages. They weren't there before when I lived here. I don't really want to drive down there because, yeah, I just want to remember as it was. So I'm back in my hotel room, and I suddenly thought I really fancy a cup of coffee. So I asked the guys at reception, there's a guy and a girl out there, if they did coffee, and they don't do coffee at the moment. But obviously I've got coffee in the room here. But the problem is, if you're vegan, or even if you're lactose intolerant, you don't have any alternatives, because you've got the little, punnets of milk, UHT, skim milk. But you don't have any soy milk or oat milk. So I asked them if they could give me some soy milk, and he was so lovely. He gave me a little jug of soy milk. So I'm going to have a cup of coffee, take my shoes off, stick the TV on. I'm going to chill out for a couple of hours. Then I might think about dinner, because it's 5 o'clock now, and then I've got my drive back to London tomorrow. So I've got to get the car back before 9:30 in the evening. It takes about 5.5 hours to London, all being well. I say that because getting out of London and getting into London is the worst bit. It takes forever going through Hammersmith and Chiswick. So I'm probably going to leave early. I'll probably leave about 10. Got to check out here by midday. But if I check out at midday, I'm going to hit a rush hour, London end, and that's the worst thing that I want. So yeah, I'll probably leave about 10 with a view to getting back by 2. I've decided to go out for dinner to a pub called the Ship Inn, which is really near my school, where I went to school, in Weybridge. So I'm staying at Premier Inn, which is there, and it's walking distance to the pub. I looked on Happy Cow, which is this vegan app that people use to see what vegan cafes and restaurants are in the area. It's got like a GPS type location thing that allows you to find out what's around, what's available. So Apparently they do a vegan burger. I think there are other vegan options as well, but I really fancied burger and chips, which isn't great considering I had a vegan cheese toasty at lunchtime on the beach. But hey, I'm back in London tomorrow, so I can eat more sensibly and also do yoga and do the gym. Yeah, it's going to be non-stop. I've got to get some weight off. It smells like someone's burning a bonfire. You can just hear the birds singing. So I'm about to walk past my school, which is the other entrance of the school on the main road, because the entrance that I showed you earlier was the back of the school, and then I took you round to show you the back of the fields and where the gym and the swimming pool was. It's probably a better time to film the school as well. It's not so creepy. Filming when the kids are there, it's not good. So there it is, from the ages of 12 to 17, I was in those rooms, those classrooms. So this is the hill I used to walk down on my lunch breaks from school. If I didn't eat at the school, I would end up going to the chip shop, and being vegetarian when I was a kid, obviously I'm vegan now, but being veggie back then, it would probably be chips and salad green, or chips and baked beans, or jacket potato and baked beans. I can't actually remember where I bought them, but yeah, pretty grim when you think that's pretty much what I was eating back then. So I seem to remember this is the Ship Inn. So my Cornwall trip comes to an end. It's Wednesday morning, just gone 10 o'clock, it's about 10:15. I'm gonna head back to London now and try and avoid the rush hour traffic, obviously the other end. Should get back, I reckon, about 3:30. And then it's about a 20-minute walk back to the flat where I live. So yeah, a really great week. Very sad week, obviously, but great to see the family. Lots of friends turned up. I've had a really nice week. It's been nice to get away from London as well. Something you realise when you come out of London is how chaotic it is. But yeah, looking forward to getting back and seeing Jeremy and Teddy. Thank you for watching, everyone. I hope you've had a great week yourselves, and I hope you've enjoyed watching what I've been up to in Cornwall this week. I will see you next Sunday. Don't forget to subscribe if you've enjoyed this, and I'll see you on the other side.